our Canadian labor market is in a tough spot. But what I think is really interesting is more so the entry level jobs that people are hurting in at the moment. Right now, we're kind of looking more so those ages 15, 19 years old, and 20 to 24. Like those age groups are really struggling. Like we're seeing like their unemployment rates are spiking like crazy. Since January 2023, the unemployment rate for Canadians aged 15 to 19 have increased from 12.2 to 17.1% in May 2024. For those aged 20 to 24, not to be confused with the year, the unemployment rate has risen from 8.2 to 10.2%. And for the 15 to 24 age group taken as a whole, the unemployment rate has increased from 9.7 to 12.6%. And they are being replaced in their place. Instead of hiring them, our kids, to be able to these entry level jobs in like service industries or this, that, the other, we are then in turn hiring temporary foreign workers who don't have to be given the same type of rights, don't have to be given the same amount of care. You just kind of pay them base level. The government subsidizes the rest, and then you can just send them on their merry way, and they can go back to their country, or they can find residency somewhere else in the country. So it's a really kind of an ugly cycle that's happening right now, especially with our young people. And that's why like people, we'll talk about the elf in the room, where it's like, yeah, like why am I seeing like less Canadians working like at Tim Hortons? Why am I seeing less like Canadian kids working at these entry level jobs? Well, this is part of the problem, is part of the reason. It's like, it's not because, it's just like everyone decided we're all going to hire international workers. It's because, well, the government's subsidizing this, and people it's a tough economy right now. Franchises, stores are prioritizing the bottom line. There's like, well, this is the way I can save some money and get some good help. That's what I'll do. And that's what is leading to Canadian kids not being able to get entry level jobs right now.
Yeah, it's really interesting too, because I think his name is Roly Poly Panda. The guy.
What a name!
I know that's his TikTok handle, but he's really, really well versed on everything like immigrant crisis and Canadian policies around it. Because he was kind of basically the one that started talking about the fact he's like, I'm an immigrant. I came here legally years ago, and this is all the crap that I had to go through in order to come here and become a Canadian citizen. And then he was like, these guys are just barging in. But he kind of actually did talk about that this morning a little bit about the temporary foreign worker crisis. And he's like, it's exploitive of everyone.
Absolutely.
It's exploiting the temporary foreign workers. It's exploiting the Canadian youth. He's like, nobody is winning in this besides the businesses that are getting this very cheap, low cost, low skill labor.
It's like
low
key slavery.
Yeah,
crazy.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And so the other part of it too is like, what's happening is that, like you said, the Canadian citizens, the youth, they are demanding, rights, and they are demanding that they have their employment rights respected, and they have to have certain workers' compensation packages and things included, right, that, any Canadian worker would get. And then these temporary foreign workers aren't entitled to a lot of that. And so they don't have to pay the same kind of premiums for these folks. And so it's a very easy cost benefit analysis for them. And oftentimes they will work, the 24 hours in a row. That is very much illegal, but they're not going to say anything because they don't want to lose that position and then get kicked out of the country. Because to them, they're looking at this as a way to guarantee their PR. So they're going to work all the crappiest shifts that nobody else wants to do and demand no extra pay for it, not get paid overtime. And they're just going to do all these things that the Canadians won't do. And that's what we're seeing happen. And I think that part of this, I'm going to blame the government too, on the fact that if you keep increasing the costs of inputs for these businesses are still going to maintain their profitability. They're just going to cut corners in other places. And this is it.
Yep, that's exactly it. And that's where, a lot of the conversation is happening around, where people are confused. Like I'm in probably 5 different community Facebook groups, spanning across the different parts of Nova Scotia. And this conversation comes up probably once every couple of weeks, where it's like, what is happening? Like, why can't my kid get a job at Tim Hortons right now? Like, why can't my, like they keep applying at all these spots and they don't even get an interview. And then, like that the conversation that comes back is like, but then it's like, where are all these people coming from and how are they getting jobs? What is happening? And it's like, this is the politics behind it right now. This is why it's happening. And it's, as you said, exploitative of everybody involved. It sucks for everybody involved. And it comes back down to terrible policy by this federal government that's screwing us 6 ways a Sunday. And what can you do? Well, we can vote next year. That's a place to start and to try and get this stuff under control and figure it out.
Yeah. And honestly, I've been hearing and having the same kind of conversations, and I don't blame the temporary foreign workers. They're doing what they can to try and get ahead in life. And, if I was in their shoes, I'd probably be doing the same thing.
Yeah, totally.
So I don't blame them. But I do blame this government for its bad policies. Because basically what you're telling these people is you're faking the promise of them getting a PR. And then some might, because we saw the mass immigration in this country in the past couple of years. But a lot of them won't. Mm-hmm. And they'll just, like you said, just keep churning them through until they've used up all of their ability, and they either become disheartened or they don't have the money to pay for the expensive life that they have to lead in Canada now, and they have to go home, or their temporary foreign worker time in Canada runs out and they just get sent back, and they get sent back demoralized and more broke than they were when they came.
Yeah.
And so I think it's disgusting.
Couldn't agree more.
That was electric, wasn't it? Well, we enjoyed it. Hope you did too. If you did, you can check this video out here to the top right corner right near my window. Get over. There it is. There it is right there. And if you liked that, you can also check this one right here. We love you. Have a good one. Peace out.